Hi, I'm Roy Crowne from Revelation Trust, and welcome to Gospel Entrepreneurs. In this podcast, I'll be finding out what makes Christian entrepreneurs stand out wherever they are. Today, I'm speaking to Orlando, who started the company Amonev. By not fearing failure and being willing to try new things, Orlando has built a successful business which is always pointing back to God at the center. Orlando!
Yes, sir.
Orlando and I have connected through a mutual friend, and I'm thrilled that he's able to join us on this occasion on a very busy life as he runs a very successful, fruitful business. But I'm thrilled that he's a gospel entrepreneur, and that's his desire. So, Orlando, people don't know you. Tell us a little bit about you, your background, where you hang out, what you do would be great.
For sure. Appreciate it, Roy. Yes, I was born and raised in Jamaica. I came to this country when I was about 9. Kind of had to learn pretty quickly, how to communicate. I remember going to school when I started, all the kids used to be like, when I used to speak, couldn't understand a word I used to say. So, I had to quickly learn how to adapt. And then, from that, I literally found faith as well in this country as well. From a culture where, we were kind of forced to go to church, not forced, we were obliged to go to church when we were younger. We got to the age of, 16 when, you're a bit more older now and the parents can't really tell you what to do as much. And then from that, I kind of diverted a bit. And then God kind of called me, I'd say probably about 19, 20, in my 20s now, where I really kind of step back into the faith and really kind of make that conscious decision that, you know what, Lord, I was going to follow you your way alone.
Was that a dramatic coming back to faith, Orlando, in your 20s? Or was it just, hey, I need to be back, I need to come home? Or was it more dramatic than that?
No, good stuff. Yeah, so I think I definitely lived the prodigal son experience where, I went crazy, done a lot. I think I was definitely going through a phase and process and stage of my life where, I would say I was quite successful at the time, achieved quite a lot. And I just remember going out and just really being amongst friends. And it just got to a point where I just kind of questioned it. Was this it? Is this all there is? And then really started to then, I think, kind of seek God from there. But then also God placed my wife in my life as well, because she was also seeking Christianity. She didn't come from a Christian background as well. And then I just decided that, you know what, let me be a bit more serious with this and a bit more intentional as well. And then that's when I really started to now, just apply myself to kind of getting to know God and building a relationship.
And then you thought, hey, maybe I should give myself full time to serving the Lord. I mean, wasn't that a kind of, you've always been entrepreneurial, but you just thought, hey, maybe that's the route I should go. Isn't that what you thought about, Orlando?
Definitely, in terms of, I've always been quite an all-in type of guy. If I've got something, I'm quite passionate. I'm quite passionate about music as well. So that was something when I came to faith, that was quite big to me because the likelihood everyone, before you're a Christian, whatever your interests were, etc., you're still going to be the same person when you come into Christ, right? God just enhances who you are as an individual. So for my thing was music and stuff like that. So I was kind of like, oh, all right, where's the great Christian music at? And then I just found that there wasn't really any awareness around that. And I found myself really kind of searching. And then through that searching, I then decided I could see like there's a massive demand and a gap for actually quality Christian music, and especially people just being aware of what Christian music that there are out there. So that led me to then go on, I was studying business at the time. So it led me to go on to create events around like bringing Christians together, like so Christian lounges and stuff like that while studying, which was a great experience as well.
And give us the journey now. You've kind of set up a brand new business. How did that come about? Because you were I thought, I knew you once, you were working in a church setting and you thought, oh, no, I'm not going to do this.
So I think God quickly, because sometimes you generally think when it comes to serving God or when God calls you, generally we think, oh, that serving belongs in the church, right? And that was definitely my mindset and concept of like fully being involved in serving God. So a church that I go to, I was meeting with our senior leader pastor, and then he invited me to come and just, work a few days at the church and stuff like that as well. So when he offered that invitation, I thought, oh my word, this is it. Like, oh, I'm being called now. That this is it, full-time ministry. All right, Lord, you're calling me. Like, oh, mate, told the wife, oh, babes, I think this could be. I'm like, yeah, like, I think this is it. So anyway, I went along and, done our first couple of days. I was like, okay, cool. This is very interesting, very different, and then after about a week or the second week in, literally sitting there looking around, everyone's all happy. And I'm like, this is boring. I'm like, this is no way, like, this ain't for me. This ain't where I'm meant to be. And then that solidified that my calling of serving God is not in the church. I'm better served outside of the church, sending people into the kingdom. And then from that, I was then searching, all right, Lord, right, what do you want me to do now? And God kind of gave me a word that, listen, you need to start off at the bottom, like kind of who do you think you are? So kind of took that word and all right, Lord, okay, what does the bottom even look like, right? And then, the way God works, he brings everything kind of together. So like conversation I had like months ago, like everything just started to come in play, and something a bit supernatural did happen with God, where he basically pointed me in the right direction, and I was able to kind of see a product that I thought, oh, this is good. This could work. This could be like a beginning. I could graft at this and really kind of, make this potentially be something. So this is a young guy with a dream and a passion, broke. Like, how am I even going to do this? So I went to my dad, my spiritual dad, Mr. Paul Lindsay, and literally spoke to my pops and like, look, P, this is what I've got in mind. This is what I'm thinking. But, I need some help, right? And he literally, without even a shadow of a thought, like, all right, let's do this. And then he gave me the financial support to kind of go on to launch a product, which we done around the Olympics in 2012. And then just from that and then the learning and stuff like that, and then again, God just putting the right people on my path along the journey, it transgressed me over to kind of creating children products and having kids as well. And then, from that was a journey. And then we ended up, getting our products into like John Lewis Boots, Virgin, London History Museum, zoos all over. So we had a great level of success over that. And then that was just God equally also being with us, because people were marveled at how a little stand with no backing, like we were broke, right? So we had no backing, grey walls, no light, we didn't have money for electricity. And like people just being drawn to us. Obviously, I give that credit to the Most High.
What was the initial idea that you did, Orlando? Because you had this kind of crazy idea. I know you spoke to Paul, who's not your biological father, but spiritual father. What was it? Was it watches or something? Children's watches, wasn't it?
That's correct. Yes. So it was the Olympics at the time. And I remember giving a word which sticks with me to this day. And hopefully, I don't know if it's any benefit to anyone, that an opportunity of a lifetime only lasts in the lifetime of the opportunity. That was around the Olympics. So that was for that period. So the watch basically had different colors on the watch, which was a Lego style watch that basically were able to kind of represent each different country and stuff. I knew as well that was only for a season and a period. That was the opportunity, and there's a window for that. And then having kids, I saw a product that we could do, which was an animal snap watch for children. And then we were able to design it, get the mold and tooling all from China. And then actually, again, we had, based on our Chinese community in our church, we had a friend, Andrea, who basically connected us with some other Chinese student that was able to help us meet the manufacturer and all of that stuff as well. And then we kind of built on from that. But then we solely focused on children products from that point, kind of going forward.
And you've always risked it, haven't you, Orlando? You've always been right. In every conversation I have with you, it's like, I got this other idea that I just need the money and I just want to do this. And it's just, you live in that crazy space, don't you, Orlando?
For sure. So I think God made me very ambitious. I'm a more world domination type of guy. I'm not like, let's do this for the sake of doing it. I'm like, nah, look, let's do this. And then we want to be the best at this, right? So I want to be the best. And then that normally comes with putting your foot on the accelerator. So I do believe in excelling at what we do. And we do not take risk. I say we make calculated decisions. And based on our growth as well, just our level of growth, literally since I've started, we've always done like 100% up on year. And then now, you know, with what we're doing and just, again, adding on based on my experience now, obviously, this was 10 years ago since I started. So equally, that's a lot of experience I've got behind me now. So now we're seeing anything I do now, it's got 10 years experience kind of being put on it as well. So we're seeing the acceleration of growth even more, but that's also demanded on cash and stuff, etc. So we've had to kind of be wise and be creative in terms of how we kind of do that and achieve that, but still not losing that ambition to really kind of excel and be the best at what we can.
And God's clearly, this is what you were made for, Orlando. You're loving it, and you also run an allotment on the side. God's right at the center of it. What would you say to anyone listening who's kind of thinking, I've got an idea, I'm not sure? What would you say to some of our listeners in your journey? Obviously, the church thing, you knew, I'm not going to do that. You were obviously entrepreneurial. Even in a previous life, you kind of did stuff that was very entrepreneurial. Now you're fulfilling that, and you're talking faith, even in what you do in your business and everything else. What would you say to someone listening that's kind of thinking, I've got the idea, I may not have the Paul Lindsay with the money? What would you say to him?
Yeah, so I think definitely, you know, it wasn't just Paul Lindsay and the money, because money doesn't solve much, really, to be honest with you. So I think God was in the center of what we've done, and there was a reason why we're doing what we're doing as well. This is just the start of us, you know, in a way, expanding the kingdom as well. So yeah, so money is something never to be chased after. That's a byproduct of work, right? So I think ultimately, when you put God in the center of whatever that you do, you know, there's meaning to what you do. So then that gives you a fuel to actually keep and stay with what you're doing. Whereas a lot of people generally stop. And generally my advice to people is that if you can't see yourself doing something for 5 years, don't do it. Right? That's like minimum that it would take in order to build some foundation or something. So just be mindful that, look, things take time. Put God in the center of all that you do. And remember that because also entrepreneurship can be a very lonely journey. So when you're doing this with God, it makes life different. Like I literally was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and I was saying, and we're just talking about the journey as well. And I remember sitting in a room full of very successful gentlemen who weren't Christians, and they were just baffled why a young boy with no real experience within this space can acquire the accounts these blue chip accounts that we've acquired in the space of time that we acquired them. And they were just baffled. And I literally had to say to them, look, that's God. That's not even me, right? So that's straight. That's God. So God will definitely do the hard grafting and the hard lifting. And I think just put him in the center. And again, I think you'll see results and stuff like that. And just to say, I think God's taken me completely, like from where I am today to where I come from is miles. It's you couldn't even imagine. When I came to this country, I was brought up on a council estate as well. So equally, I remember just having that mindset as well, and just how God changed that mindset, where being on the council estate, the dream was to own a house, because I lived in a flat, right? To own another council house with a garden. That was the mindset. God just taking myself from that space and just showing me that, like, you know, just like, don't limit your mind, right? And there's so much out there, and having God in there, he's everything that I am today because of him.
Orlando, what age were you when you started the business?
I was 27 when I started the business. Yeah, I was 27, and I was going through that stage of life as well, where not really sure, because again, I worked a night shift at Sainsbury's, and equally, again, I used to dabble. I had a great relationship with the managers at Sainsbury's, so I used to go off and try different things. And when it didn't work, you know, I kind of make a phone call back. Come back in. So, so even when I left this time round, they were like, yeah, we'll see you again soon. I was like, nah, I'm not coming back. This time I'm gone for good. But I was definitely at that point of that age, especially having children as well and being married, where, you know, I just believe that God made me for more, and there was a purpose as to why I'm here. And yeah, around 25, 27, those 2 years, I was really kind of searching to find out, like, what is it I'm actually here for? God, what do you actually make me for? Right? You know, and how do you want me to kind of impact your kingdom as well? So those were the ages that I really started to seek. And then, very fortunate that, you know, God gave me direction.
And obviously, you're not just an entrepreneur in business. You've gone up and set a crazy allotment that is kind of what you do to at your weekend and all that kind of
For
stuff. You're
sure.
still
For sure.
committed to the local church. Do you think that was in your DNA back in the day when you first came? There was kind of something in you that just said, I'm going to create. I see things differently to other people, and I think differently to other people.
When I reflect and look back where I come from and being born and raised in Jamaica, I went back in 2020. And, I just remember being around my cousins and stuff like that, and just even looking around the community and just looking at how creative these guys are, right? I remember us creating trucks out of empty milk carton and 4 grapefruit and sticking a stick through and putting them as wheels, tying a string and pulling that along. We created toys from our natural environment, waste, fruits, etc. So when I do think back, and then I look back at my uncles as well, who were, market traders. These guys were farmers. These guys I just remember them like, grafting and filling up a van load of pineapples or whatever and just taking it to the market to sell. And, just when I reflect and look back and I think now like, right, you know what? All of those stuff that I was kind of going through was, being solely embedded in me to create the man who I am today. Right. So, yeah, there is something special, like, which when I do go to the allotment, just getting away from it all and just putting my hands in soil and actually producing and to some degree getting a little glimpse of what God feels like when you have to nurture something, water for it, cater for it, and just see it blossom into something that is like, that you can partake of, you can enjoy. It's just phenomenal. Equally, I would say that the allotment is great for the mind as well. So it's a great space where I actually go to when times are stressful, where you can just literally shut off and actually just be at peace and just allow the mind to be still and equally also connect with God. So yeah, it's an amazing place.
Somebody listening to this, Orlando, who's kind of got that in them, what would you say as final remarks to they're 25, they're kind of, hey, I don't know what God's doing in my life. I know what I don't want to do. I'd like to do this. You took the risk. You had a couple of goes and then you went back to Sainsbury's and then you came again. What would you say as your closing remarks, Orlando, to someone listening?
I think life is precious. This is an opportunity, an amazing opportunity to do, whatever's laid on your heart to do, right? And there's, as they say, people speak about like failure, not achieving what you think that's within you, and you end up procrastinating about an idea that you've had for how long. I'd say definitely just do it, give it a go. You've got nothing to lose, And again, as I said, God being with you even more so, that would just enhance whatever that you touch, do. But this hasn't been an easy road as well. Like, that's the real. And again, as long as you stay consistent with it, I think sometimes we can be illogical as human beings, and sometimes as Christians as well, where, there's a practical order of life that everything takes time. Everything requires work to see a result. So just put in the work, the time and dedication and focus, and, some stuff, might blossom earlier than others, but, consistency is a powerful thing. So just stay consistent with it. Just give it a go. You've got nothing to lose at all by literally applying yourself and trying it, and then at least you can say you've tried, right? And that's the main thing. At least you can say, I've tried it. It didn't work. And then you keep it moving to the next thing. And, and again, reach out to people as well. Reach out to people that's in your industry, that is experienced or ahead of where you want to go to or where you want to get to, and then learn from them as well. I think I probably didn't do enough of that in my early days as well. So I feel that's something I should have done a lot more, where I should have literally tapped into people who's far more experience in the space of where I'm going into, and then just learn from them as well. And then that would definitely help you dodge a few dodgy steps. Yeah.
Orlando, it's been amazing to have this conversation. You're a great brother, friend, gospel entrepreneur. God at the center is everything about you, Orlando. That's what you do and that's what you live. And it's been great to have this conversation. Thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you, Roy. I'll drop you the tenner for all those good comments later, but I appreciate that.
Thank you, Orlando, for joining me today. Orlando's story is such a great story because he's worked hard, he's put in the hard effort, and he's seen the fruit of it. Not on everything, but he's had some amazing successes. I just think it's so encouraging that on the journey of faith in all our lives, God is at the centre. If you've enjoyed Gospel Entrepreneurs, we would also love to hear from you. Leave a review if you can, that would be great. Thank you for listening today. Gospel Entrepreneurs is a UCB podcast in partnership with the Revelation Trust.